third-generation race car driver. Sorry, Sidmore, making A main. Thompson out of 1, Becker, Kraft, Andrew Wright, Richard Morgan, Danny Porter, Rodney Maxwell and Craig Brady in the DeCosti Seafoods Eagle Machine out of position 8.
Out of 9, Mick Turner, 10, Brucey White, then Mark Richards, Mark Blyton, Grant Tunks, Brooke Tatnell from 14, Adam Clark 15, Jamie Barnes out of position number 16. From 17, we'll have Adrian Marr, 18, Martin Laws, 19, Troy Little, and 20, Mitchell Dumsney.
Yeah, a very stout field, the toughest weekly gig in the country. Green lights are on, bit of contact between Porter and Maxwell. Mick Turner having trouble down the bottom as they fan out of 2.
Yeah, some of these boys really finding it tough up on this cushion. It is very, very thick, as we saw just before the break. Looks like James Thompson, Mark Blight got himself into trouble through 3 and 4, ends up on the infield.
Just going to say, actually, Rod, that start was totally a problem, I guess, for some of our big names in the back half of that field. A few guys got balked mid-pack, and that meant that a lot of the guys rear of the field. Of course, Robbie Farr's won 4 PCR track championships, has done it regularly from the back of these fields, and he's always told us you've got to get the job done early on and pass as many cars as you can. It ain't easy winning here.
No, certainly not. Once these guys get into a rhythm, you can find yourself in a lot of bother trying to get through the pack. As we get underway again, it'll be James Thompson to lead them away, also Kim Becker.
Guys like Tatnell, Clark and Little will be relieved. They got a race restart. Again, a bit of balking going on. Craig Brady affected in all that. And Jamie Barnes pulls a massive wheel stand down the back straight. Bruce White working his way through up in the heavy clay. And I suggest that's where we'll see guys like Brooke Tatnell tonight. Oh, again. Oh, hooked up tonight here at PCR, no question. Bruce White running the top side of the track, as is Jamie Barnes. Looks like he's figured out a few things about this place in recent times.
Yeah, he's had a taste of victory last week, as we saw. Oh, Andrew Wright almost goes around. Rod Maxwell nearly goes with him.
Red lights are on. Rod Calhoun, let's have a look. Oh, turn 4, and Mitchell Dumsney looks like he's joined the Wing Commander Club as well as making his A main tonight. Extensive damage on that Stealth chassis car, number 69, sponsored by Valvoline. Pat the Cow on top of the wing there. That's, of course, an old Kelly Linigan car. She used to run with that cow motif on her main wing. Mick Turner involved, as is Bruce White, which is terrible luck for Whitey.
Yeah, let's hope young Mitchell and the other 2 drivers are okay. Mitchell, not the biggest fellow, obviously. He's only 16 years of age, so not real good for him to be flung around in the cockpit of one of these monsters.
Always great to see new faces at the pointy end of these fields, and James Thompson in that Froggy Internet Maxim machine has the advantage. Jamie Barnes working his way through. Rodney Maxwell holding his position. Brooke Tatnell on a move as well. Andrew Wright. Keep an eye on this guy in seasons to come. An absolute talent, no question. I know guys like Brooke Tatnell and Adrian Marr have a ton of respect for this guy.
Yeah, he's certainly got it. There's no doubt about that. In his first 2 or 3 meetings in the sprint car, he looked very solid throughout the heats. Obviously didn't figure in the A mains in terms of position, but very good driver. Jamie, I tell you what, Barnes is not here to die wondering tonight. He's on it.
He is on the gas, no question. In fact, he is running a 3.72 as well tonight, so he's quite competitive, and that has been a bit of an interesting development this year. There's been times where various competitors have had to revert back to a 3.72 for whatever reason, and they've been more than competitive, no question about that. And Jamie Barnes is on a move in that car number 9 machine. But touching on Andrew Wright, certainly a prodigious talent. Has only run something like 5 sprint car shows this year. Tatnell on the move, just had a bit of a mistake there right out of turn 2. And BT took full toll, yellow light scenario, and that works into that Shell Helix Maxim driver's capabilities and hands. And it's Adam Clark. That is a development. The Richard Petty driving experience Valvoline machine will be sent rear of field as a result.
Yeah, not good for his points tally in the PCR Track Championship, which he currently leads. And this has fallen right into Troy Little's hands.
Exactly. Troy Little will be delighted with this development. 25 laps remaining. Green flag scenario once again. Andrew Wright gets back that advantage. James Thompson has an absolute mauling of cars behind him. Craig Brady has moved through. He has picked up his game since they dynoed their engine at Sid Moore's a few weeks ago rather. Oh, Jamie Barnes. He was committed to the bottom. The action on screen told all that and more.
Yeah, one of the interesting things on the rumour mill at the moment is that Craig Brady may make his way to America, at least for a couple of weeks, which would be very interesting.
Yeah, an interesting development too, or maybe a future development in our sport. I know Barry and Vivian Lewis, big wheel stand for Adrian Marr again. Just in case our checkered flag crew missed the first one, he does another one. But he was saying that actually Mick Turner's gone upside down. Was that just a main wing actually collapsing?
He was involved in the Dumsney incident.
Oh, so
Turner. So the damage is obviously, he's damaged his wing and now it's blown off. So
obviously a yellow condition, he mustn't have flipped, so a wing strut has capitulated there, unfortunately. Watch Tatnall on the high side. James Thompson, great effort there. Look, Tatnall's passed him in the end, but still fantastic performance by Thompson. Was cheeky, a little longer than we expected anyway.
He certainly was. Good drive from James. Here he comes. Jamie Barnes, the man on a mission. I'll tell you what, he'll have no qualms about chasing after Tatnall as well, Barnes. He's very brave.
Look, if you've ever seen Skagit Speedway in Washington, where he's raced on a regular basis, that is, well, Warrnambool's bank. That thing is damn banked, and he's very fast there and run right. Well, he competes right on the wall. I know he enjoyed Warrnambool too, for that fact. But Barnes has really turned it on at Parramatta. He loves this place too, wants to be back on a regular basis once again next season. James Thompson and Jamie Barnes wheel standing down the back straight.
Awesome stuff from Barnes. Checkered flag, proudly brought to you by Titan Garages and Sheds, Speedway Racing News Magazine, Rod Bowen Prestige Smash Repairs, and Squirt in the Dirt. Your chance to drive a sprint car, and who in their right mind would turn up the opportunity to do that? That would be unreal.
Yeah, 1-800-630-930. David Kraft has spun around, nearly flips in Marty Perovich land, and Jamie Barnes goes over our hard charger, and the fans groan and moan, and an unusual stop there. He's come to a stop rather, on the pointy end of his race car. That's terrible luck. And Jamie Barnes, of course, Craig Brady was reeling him in, and I should finish what I was saying before. Barry and Vivian Lewis have signed Craig Brady, I'm told, on a 3-year contract, which might be a development for the sport in the future. Awesome. Give people peace of mind, I guess.
That's great.
James Thompson, Craig Brady, Andrew Wright still there. Adrian Marr has come from a B main and is on an absolute tear. Superb driving by the Beverley Glass Bullet, Adrian Marr.
An incident like we just see that. Unbelievable stuff.
You were saying, mate?
Just going to say, an incident like Jamie Barnes, you'll find someone like Brooke Tatnall and people will say, why has Tatnall never won an Australian title, so on and so on. The way Jamie Barnes went out of that race then, he was on an absolute charge, and just in the flick of an eyelid, race is over. So it's a very, very finicky and quirky sport. You can go out in the blink of an eyelid.
Yeah, well, Gary Rush, who is Mr. Speedway in Australian terms. Oh, Brady now about to get under hammer, had turn 4 a bit awry there. Goes back down low. Gary Rush said, I'd rather be lucky than good. So if Rush says that, where does that leave anyone else? The mere mortals in this sport nowadays. Just elaborates what my co-commentator's talking about. Adrian Marr has locked that Beverley Glass car number 10 down and running the cushion superbly. In fact, transponder data has him clearly as the fastest car on track now, even faster than Brooke Tatnall, and that is saying something.
Marr has arrived.
Well, he's had a very good second half of the year. They ditched the up-rail chassis Maxims that they were running, rather, and now it's gone back to a conventional setup with the Maxim chassis. No difference in height of the bottom frame rails, and has been happy as Larry ever since.
Brooke Tatnall now out to a comfortable lead, and has to be said, it was probably expected that Brooke would win tonight, although in the class of company he's in, it's never that easy. Well,
he raced a couple of times at PCO last season and did not win. So obviously this year he's put that to bed. He's won 2 this season. And we got a bit of commotion through turn 2. Looks like Troy Little. That car not quite right. He's had a tough night at the office, but he's made the A main, which shouldn't hurt his points aspirations too much. But the season is winding down here at Parramatta City Raceway, so you want to get up there as quick and get at the pointy end of this field. Brooke Tatnall, this is where laps and seat time count. You just deal with lap traffic with absolute aplomb. 10 laps remaining. The Shell Helix Maxim machine is looking good.
Mark Richards there now, the next victim for Brooke Tatnall as he works his way through the field for a second time. Unreal stuff from Tatnall in under Richards. Richards very smooth, rarely makes mistakes, certainly won't cause Brooke any undue commotion as he goes by.
Yeah, Adrian Marr now puts Troy Little lap down. Big mini wheel pop there from Troy Little. And Adrian Marr is the only man realistically capable at this stage of reeling in Brooke Tatnall. The track is perfect. I've got to say, that cushion is just stuck there, right at the top, at a nice height on this racetrack. And he can get good momentum and he can slide job and deal with lap traffic. So someone like Brooke Tatnall, he'd see tracks like this dime a dozen in the US of A, and he knows how to run it. Of course, he used to be famous running actually off the track and back on the track on the main straights of Parramatta. Did that in his precocious days of youth. We all remember those, don't we, in our own lives, do we, Rod?
A long time ago for me, Dino.
You and me both, mate. Adrian Marr, though, you'd have to be happy with his run. Had a very tough start to the year.
He certainly did. Adrian Murray ended up upside down a couple of times, had some major engine throws at really bad times, and his confidence was at an all-time low, and he was the first one to admit that he was going to need a real pep-up to get himself back up to speed. But if he can pull off a podium position here tonight, that'll go some way to compensating him and the team for their rough run.
Some big movers in this field. Grant Tunks has come from a 13th start to 5th. That's a great run. Adam Clark went rear of field, you may remember, and he's making his way up into 4th place now. Craig Brady came out of position 8. He's now in 3rd. And Adrian Marr, we touched on it already, has come from a B-main finish through to, obviously, in the runner-up spot, trying to challenge Tatnall for the race lead here. And Brooke Tatnall came out of position 14. So all our top runners here, Rod, have had to do it pretty tough.
Certainly have. If I had to put money on someone at the start of the season to win this track championship, it would have been Marr.
Last 2 seasons, it's been interesting, Rod. They've come in with packages that have had mechanical woes early, and both seasons, it's fair to say, if they had their package right from the get-go, he would have been absolute white-hot chance for that championship. As it is, he's already in the top 3 or 4 in the championship. But 1 lap or less than a lap to go, Brooke Tatnall, he is the 2nd winningest driver at Parramatta City Raceway, and he's just added to that tally to try and reel in the 95 wins that Gary Rush has had here. But a great result to Brooke Tatnall. He claims